it might be more difficult to go back, or, you know, it just makes sense to do it as we're going through it. So let me show you. So this is the map of your campus in the GIS program. Program is ArcMap. And if you look over here on the side, this is kind of the table of contents of everything that is on the map. And it loads from top to the bottom. So whatever's on top will show above the bottom. So I generally place the buildings on the very bottom in case there is something that might draw on top of that. And I kind of wanted to show you how we make this map. So I have a blank map right here. And if you go to the top, there is this catalog button. And if you open it, if you click it, it comes up over here. And let me try and move it. I think it might be behind everybody's Zoom call. But you can access wherever your database is kept. You can basically access it from here. And mine, unfortunately, will be very slow because I'm accessing it remotely. So bear with me here. But does anybody, while this is loading, does anybody have questions about the look of this or how to start opening this, opening the ArcMap program itself? Okay, well, let me try and go to the other one. Let me just do it from here. So if you go to the catalog and you go to any of your files. So this is where I have yours, the geodatabases. And if you go to, let's say, your electrical and you want to bring in just your electrical nodes, you can click on it and drag it into the map. And it'll load from here, which it's already on here. So let me see if the other one is working. Nope. But anyway, that's how you add the data to the map. And then I think so in your internal meeting, Stephanie showed you, you can click this information button and click on anything and get the information about that object here. But Stephanie, when you open your maps, somebody was saying that you guys already have a pre-made map that you just open. It's in a folder.
So when we log into the GIS, on the left-hand side in the layers section, there is an aerial map. And
okay,
so
that has.
If the aerial map is clicked, then it'll show. But if you unclick it, then obviously that layer doesn't show, and you just see the utility lines without a map in the background.
Okay, so when you say you log in, do you log in online, or do you do it in the ArcMap program itself?
So I click on the ArcMap.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you guys are doing it through the program on the desktop.
I think most of us do it that way. But if anyone does it online, please speak up now. I do it from a program on my desktop.
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody has had the app installed on their desktop.
Okay, so this is the blank map. Let me just show you kind of what it would look like if you, because sometimes you don't want all of the utilities. It gets a little busy. So this is a good way of just adding the utility sometimes that you want to look for or look at. So you just, again, this catalog, you open it, you drag in what you want into the map, and it should load. It should load. The data is very cumbersome, so it sometimes does take a while. So then this is just the electrical data right here. So if you want to add a base map to this, you go to up here, there's this add data button, and you click the little arrow on the side and you can add a base map. So this is the aerial that you would see. So there's different options, and usually I choose the imagery for campuses. So then you add that and it'll put the base map that Esri, the company, provides. So that's what it would look like. And you can, of course, as you guys know, turn it, just uncheck it and it'll turn off. And I find that the more data you have on here, if you try and zoom in or out, it takes longer to load because it loads everything. Each time you change either where you're looking or if you zoom in, zoom out, it loads it all over again. So I find that if I turn the base map off, if I'm trying to zoom in or out, it loads a lot faster, and then I'll turn the base map on. So if you're having a hard time loading your data, try that. So this is just basics of getting your data onto the map and bringing in the background. So also what I wanted to show you, if you right click on any of these layers, you'll have all these things you can do to it. So let me actually bring in the building layer. So I will click on it and again, drag it into the map. And then I will move it down to the bottom. So what we want to do is we want to label these buildings. So if you right click on the buildings, you can label the features. And then it'll put labels for all of them. So this is the name of the building. That's the what it chose to label with, but we don't want that. We want to go with a smaller label. So you'll right click again, you can go to properties and then go to labels over here. And instead of the field for labeling being building name, we're going to go with building abbreviation. So the labels come in a little smaller. So when you zoom out, they're easier to read and they don't jumble into each other. You can also label your electrical nodes. Or I don't think telecom, or some of them don't have names, but if they have names, you can also label them as well. I know your hot and chilled water manholes have labels. So here are the labels for the electrical nodes. You can put those up. The other thing you can do is, of course, we have not just the objects, we have the information for the objects as well. So if you want to click on a certain manhole, you can go here to select it. And you'll see the information just for that manhole here. So this down here shows all the records. If you go here, it shows just the selected ones right here. So you can get that information. If you're over here and you know which one you want to go to, you can double click on the name and get them alphabetically. And you know you want to go to manhole 114, you can go over here and double click it and you'll zoom right to the manhole. So you can see where it is. So that's just a little being able to access the data in different forms. If you want to unhighlight these, you can just go up here. So you can open the different attribute tables and you'll have them here as tabs. So you have the nodes here and you have the lines here. So if you do select all of these, if you go to the lines, you can see which ones were selected. And then the nodes, this one right here. But if you just want to see that, it's over here. So that's the same information. When you get this, the identify, and you click on something, this is the information that you're accessing. It's in the table. So you can see it both ways. And then again, we have the hyperlink here that goes to the as-built. So also, if you notice any as-built that are, the links are broken, or if they're going to the wrong as-built, please let us know. They're, you know, it's hard not to make mistakes when you're putting this in. So if there's any errors, please let me know and I'll fix them. The other thing I wanted to show you is changing the symbology. So when you bring a layer in, the program decides how it's going to symbolize it. So of course, any point layer is going to have a point, but you can click on what it is, and then you can change the color. Like electrical, we usually put in as red. So you can change the color for these. So that way, when you have them on the full map, if you do want to show all of them, like I have here, you can still understand what you're looking at. So, you know, you can just right away know this is an electrical line. So I have symbolized this already. But that's how you do that. And then I also wanted to show you, if you go to the properties on here. Actually, you know what? Let me bring in, I don't know if we have any abandoned electrical lines, but I know Al had an issue with showing, you know, abandoned lines showing. So let me kind of go through that with you, how to get rid of those if you want. We did keep them in the database just in case, but if you don't want to see them, this is one way that you can not have them show on the map. Let me close this. Okay. So if you go to the properties and then the symbology, right now, all of the hot and chilled water lines are showing as a purple line. So instead of doing that, we want to do them as in a category. So the value for that category will be status. And if you add all of them, these are the different statuses that we have in here. So we only want to show the active lines. So we click on here and actually just click on it and then remove it. Remove. And then, so if we say okay, all of the active lines will show pink, and let's show them purple again. But then all of the other lines that we have, abandoned and to verify, if you want to show them still, they will come up as all other values. And we can put this as red if we want. That way you'll know that they were abandoned. So let's get rid of the electrical lines. So we have some abandoned lines over here that are showing red. And some over here too. But instead of that, if you don't want to show them at all, you can go here and uncheck the all other values. If you do that, the only thing that will show will be the active lines. So the line that was here, abandoned, is now hidden. So now you're only seeing the active hot and chilled water lines. So that's a little visualization. The other thing you can also do with that is you can go to categories again and do it by the node type. So this, let's see, we're going to add all of the nodes, and then you can symbolize them all differently. So we still want to make them red, but we want to make them a square. Or actually, manholes, let's keep them a circle. And make them smaller. Okay, but we have, let's see, transformers. We can make them squares.
So what's it?
Hello, hi, Arvin.
Hi, Vishali.
So we don't have some of these things in the electrical. So, well, they just won't show, and then we will hide the all other values. So I just showed you how to do the manholes and transformers. Everything else will show like this, but just to give you an idea, we can make, let's do transfer switches. I think we can make them triangles. So you can see they're symbolized a little differently. Let's see. So transfer switches, you can make them bigger, but transformers are squares, transfer switches are triangles. So it's easier, it makes it easier to visualize what you're seeing. So I think the next thing, does anybody have any questions right now about seeing the data and then visualizing before we go further?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions.
Okay.
When you make these edits, is it permanent? Is it going to affect how everyone else sees it going forward, or is it just specific to the user?
That's a good question. So it's specific to the map. So I have not saved this map yet, but once I save it, then all of this gets saved into the map. It's not saved into these layers. So if you pull this layer onto a different map, it will not show this symbology. But if you open this map again, it will look just like this.
Right, and that's one of my follow-up questions. Thank you for this. Is that I believe as we've rolled this tool out to our users, we've rolled it out with a shortcut to a single configuration file. So everyone's
right,
kind of sharing the same map. My follow-up question, similar to Josh's, is best practice moving forward. Should we work on cross-training our peeps to set up individual customized versions of our maps, or continue to use a shared map that we just showed everyone how they can edit it?
That's up to you. If you want all of your maps, because you're printing the maps and giving them out. So if you want them all to look the same way, it might be better if everybody's accessing the same map, but any changes they make will, everybody will see those changes. So I think maybe what I'm thinking best practice, if it's for a contractor, maybe go to that map document. But if you're just trying to visualize something for yourself, then make your own map. That way you can make it look any way you want. But for contractors, if you want to set it up with specific symbology and look a certain way, then maybe everybody can access that to print it off.
Sure, and I had another question. I would say this is up to this point, and I can't speak for all the users, but up to this point, we've just been really playing with the layers, and that's it. And for some reason, all this looks really kind of different to me. Is there a difference between accessing this on the web and accessing it just the software on a computer?
I mean, it does look, I do have a web map right here, if you want to see it. this is what does your web map look something like this? It does, I mean, on the web, you can configure it to look any way you want. So it might look different. But this is basically what it would look in ArcMap, unless you have a different base map.
Okay.
Right. Right. So it is in ArcMap. So I don't know how different it looks, but you might have, like, let's say this map behind it, the background. So it looks different. If things are colored differently, you know, it might look different as well. So you can configure it to look many different ways.
Josh, are you used to the satellite view?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, this is the first time it's great getting to see other functions of the program. We typically, like I said, wouldn't go into catalog and pull over a map or pull over certain features that you want to see only. We can just click through the layers. Does it have to be in an edit mode or edit capability to go into the catalog and pull certain utilities over, or
No, this is actually not in edit mode. You are not able to edit any of the information in the layers. You can change what the map looks like, and that is always the case. So if you add a layer from the catalog and then save it into the map will always have that layer in it. But you cannot edit the information in the layer. So the information in this table, you cannot change.
Yeah.
If you just add the layer. And even if you add it in a different map, it doesn't change this information. It only changes what is visualizing in the map document itself.
So can you still change the color of the lines when you're not in edit mode?
Yes. You're just changing the look of the map right now. So let's say I changed the electrical to this wonderful color. And then, so the electrical lines here are this color, but I have them in another map document. And if you look here, they are red. So I didn't change, I only changed the symbology for that one specific map, but not if I bring it into any other map.
Right,
So if you,
that's what we have to figure out.
Like
We use a single shared map. So we have to figure out if we want to lock that down as best practice or cross-training specific individuals to how that they can pull up a customized version of the map to more better suit their individual needs. Because right now, anyone who clicks on the map will make changes to the colors and save it, and make changes to the visibility on the layers, and that'll affect everyone else that logs into the single map.
Yeah, that's
what I'm concerned about.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So, I mean, it might be beneficial just to have one map that has all the symbology you want, as it should be, or as you guys decide to have it for everybody to access, but then also have separate map, everybody can make their own maps to symbolize the way they want. You can have just maps with the sewer content or just with electrical content for different use.
So a new map is kind of like opening a new page or a new spreadsheet, like a new page in a Word document or a new spreadsheet in an Excel document. Like,
right.
You're just creating a unique document that's a copy of the map that you're creating, but you're not making changes to the actual database.
Right, correct. Correct. So if I just open a new map document, I can, I mean, this will take a while. Nope. So when you open a new document, it'll ask you if you want to open any of the maps that you have worked in previously, but you don't have to. So if I cancel this and I go back to catalog, So I'm going to open the same electrical.
Do these do the drawings have street lighting? Number one, and is it just exterior site drawings, or is there interior like drawings and single lines?
No, we've only done, we didn't do the street lighting. And this is only, it's only site utilities.
Yeah, we had offered that, Robert, but I think it would be in the next phase. We didn't do it as part of the phase.
Oh, you didn't offer it to me, Arvin?
Oh, we'd love to do it, you know, if you.
So I brought in, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we did one for UCSD about a few years back, Robert, where we actually put in the lamp type, the fixture type. You know, we put in a picture of the light pole and the light fixture as well on the GIS. So if you click on a particular fixture, you can know all those details.
Okay, and then if you said if we find something that's not correct, to send it to you, email it to you, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Send it to Vaishali and me.
Okay.
We'll update it.
Yeah. So I brought in that same electrical data into this map. So the data itself hasn't changed, but the program decided how it wanted to symbolize it. And again, you can change that over here. So if we go back to the other map we had, if I save this, so let me close that map, close that one as well. So if I open this map that I just saved, so while that's opening, actually, I can go into, Al was asking about being able to edit the actual data itself. So when you edit it, it will edit for everybody. If you edit the data that's in this table, it will edit for everybody. So anybody who brings this into their map after will get those edits. So I don't know if this is something that you guys want to do yourselves or not. But the thing is, we don't have access to your database. So if you make edits in your database, we will not get them. And if I send you updates from our end, those edits will not be incorporated into that database that we send you. So I don't recommend making edits on your end. You can send them to me if you want, but I can show you how to do it. If you notice something, if you want to edit it and then send me like, hey, this was wrong, and please change this on your end as well, we can do that. So in order to edit, well, let me see if this is.
So just
Okay,
to
so
clarify, we did decide that we don't want people making changes themselves directly in the GIS, because like you mentioned, if they're not all tracked back with you guys, then the next time you give us the database update with like maybe after a major project, it wouldn't have all of those minor changes that we might have made internally. So
Correct, yeah.
our protocol is just that when we do see something that is inaccurate or incorrect, we're going to gather those changes that need to be made. So we would just keep like an ongoing log of that, and then we would try to update that quarterly. But if
Okay.
it's something major that we need to get in sooner than the quarterly update, then we would have to look at that on a case-by-case basis.
Right. Okay. So do you want me to show you or no how to edit the database?
Walter, what's your take on this?
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Right. Okay. That's fine. So let me I opened that other map document that I had saved. So the symbology opened up the same as I had saved it, just so you know. I mean, I can just quickly show you, Walter, how to edit it in case. You can right click on here and then you have to edit features, start editing. And when you start, so you just started an editing session on this layer. It will only edit certain layers. So you can't make changes to like the buildings this way. You can only make edits to the electrical, both the lines and the nodes now. So that way, everything else is kind of safe. This way you can edit, you can click on it and you can move a line. If you notice a line is in the wrong place, you can move it. You can also make edits to the table itself. So you can change like that. Well, this is a date, so that's but yeah, I think that's the best. So if you want to save them, you have to save the edits, and I will not be saving them. So it's just a quick show. So that's all I had to show you. If there's anything specific anybody wants me to show that you've been trying to do, we can go through it right now.
We actually had a question come up that was about the physical monuments on campus.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I don't know the answer to it. So there was a question about if those physical monuments, like number one, are they an embed in the concrete? And then number two, do they kind of shift at all with like, settlement or anything? And do they have to, and then number three, if they do they have to be like surveyed, so to speak, every so often? So it's kind of like a three-part question.
Arvin,
Stephanie, I can answer. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up here. We had
do you want me
provided
to stop sharing, Arvin? Are you gonna?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
see if I can pull up that map there. One second. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so these were the monuments that were designated as part of the survey, Stephanie. Um, and we had put signage. Actually, those were concrete embedments. Let me see if I can pull that as well. Okay, so this was what was done, Stephanie, and we had located them. Each monument is located with this designation. So as you
Yeah.
can see that survey control, and we have actually marked their locations with a picture as well. So they shouldn't move. Um, we've also given you the coordinates for each one of them. So these are all over the campus based on the map I showed you initially.
And is that a layer? Are the monuments shown as a layer in the GIS, or is that a separate map?
Vaishali, did we show those? I don't believe we showed them on GIS.
No, they're not in the GIS
Yeah, they are a
database.
separate, Stephanie.
Okay. We have the survey report that you're sharing on your screen. We
Okay.
have a copy of that saved in the same location as the GIS database and the
Okay.
GIS shortcut.
Okay. I think, Stephanie, when we do the next update, we'll include all these 14 locations as well. And we'll attach
Okay.
this, we'll actually reference this report to those. So that way, when you go there and click it, you can access this as well.
Okay. And then we had another question come up that maybe you guys could describe to us in general the process of how a contractor provides the utility location information, and then kind of behind the scenes how you guys update the database. And the reason we ask this question is it's come up internally if it would be a good idea to perform internally surveys of utilities when we do any kind of trenching on campus, and then perform internally the update of the database. But our understanding right now is that we don't have surveyors or drafters in-house that are trained to do that. So I was hoping you can kind of just give us the overview of what that process is like.
So, Vaishali, I think we provided a specification section, Stephanie, and I'll dig it up again on what is required from each of the contractors when they're doing as-built.
Yeah.
What coordinates? I don't know if you have a copy. I'll dig it up again and send it to you.
Yeah, we do have a copy of that spec section. So we were just wondering, is that coordinate information typically provided by a licensed surveyor?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, and then does that information, is the format that it's given to you to update the database, is it given to you in Revit? Is it given to you in a CAD file? What's that?
It can be given in any form, Stephanie. It could be red lines. So long as that information is there, we will take that information and then update our GIS maps.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you guys have like internally, are there people who are trained with GIS into importing those layers? Is it a drafts person?
Yes, Vaishali heads up that, but yes, we do have people internally who do that.
Yeah, we can import from CAD or paper as built. As long as they are accurate, then the data should be accurate in GIS.
Okay, can I ask a question? This is Enrique. So, Arvin, if I'm understanding you correctly, the as-bills that you're expecting from a construction project, are you saying that a certified surveyor has to make these points and dimensions of where the utilities are?
See, what is happening, Enrique, is that most of the as-builts we are getting right now are basically red line drawings where we get, okay, horizontal distance and vertical distance. They actually put it on the drawings. Uh, those are very approximate. It would be good to actually get the survey coordinates that are linked to these monuments so we can accurately place these utilities on the map. So that's what we are trying to get, because what happens is when we mark it up with a specific distance, it does not correspond to the particular monument. It does not correspond to the particular coordinates. So we are trying to make sure that when we get these as-bills, they are in that coordinated system so we can update them more accurately.
Okay, in that case, I would ask, or Stephanie, maybe we need to talk about putting it in our specifications, because not all the specs call for that.
Well, the specifications call for the coordinates. It doesn't say that it has to be done by a licensed surveyor, but if you look at the coordinates that are requested, that kind of thing is typically done by a surveyor, or like maybe a student who's studying surveying or somebody who has that kind of experience. But the coordinates are listed in our specifications.
Okay. A lot of these superintendents are self-proclaimed surveyors, so I guess we gotta pay a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
So they give us good as-bills.
Yeah. See, the other thing also is, they don't reference. Now, I think most of your projects are referencing the monuments, but in the past, they did not reference these monuments. So when you bring them in on a site map that's coordinated, they don't line up with the current monuments. So it's important that these monuments be followed as well. Martin, you have a question on the aerial photo layer on our version is very out of date. Yes, this was taken, Vaishali, what, 2013, 14? That was the background we used when we did this. You're muted, Vaishali.
So that was the aerial that was done for the original project.
So if there is, Martin, if we intend on providing a new aerial of the map or the campus, we could actually bring that in.
Yeah, we have some buildings that aren't even shown, right? The CPI building is not on this aerial, and some other changes. So it seems due to do that.
Yeah. So if we want to fly and get an aerial, a more up-to-date aerial, then what we could do is use that as a background.
Oh, is this not coming off Google Earth? This is like you actually have to take a picture?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a little more complicated than I was assuming.
Yes.
The maps the backgrounds that Esri provides, like I was showing you, those should be maybe more updated. I don't know if they show everything, but
3 years, yeah.
So how would we upload the other images? Because when I log into ArcMap, I only have, on the left-hand layer side, I only have one option available, or at least from what I can see, and that's the aerial imagery.
Right. So if you want to upload the backgrounds that I was showing on the map, on the top where there was that add data, the plus sign, if you click the arrow on the corner of that, it'll say add a background layer, and you can just add any of those.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Vaishali, we could check and see what the S3 background is, if that's more up to date.
Right. That's what I was showing them that they could use instead.
Yeah.
So it seems to have the CPIP building in it. So that might work a little better for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Vaishali, I got a couple of questions for you, if it's all right.
Sure.
Just kind of jumping into this. Do you know how often our local data store of ArcGIS data is updated following projects? Do we feed you updated as-built and stuff every 6 months or every year, and then this cache is updated?
Arvind, I don't know.
Not as of now. I think that's a system we are working with, Stephanie, and so I think it'll be a matter of collecting it, as Stephanie was saying, every quarter or every 6 months, depending on the density of projects you execute at the campus. And then we get those set, and then we can update the maps.
And just to kind of add to that, on more recent projects where we've already had the GIS established, now we try to account for the cost to update the GIS early on in the project budget. So for larger major capital projects, at the end of the project, ideally there is the funding available to update the GIS with that major capital project. But for smaller projects where the funding is tight and we're trying to use it on the physical improvements, that's where we would log those changes and hopefully be able to update the GIS quarterly. But again, it's all a matter of the available funding.
Okay, so Stephanie, you're a point person on that? Because I keep seeing a couple of comments that the ArcGIS details are out of date. It sounds like that's something that you're currently working on?
Yeah, so when people comment that the GIS is out of date, Alan, I don't know if you attended the roundtable that we did. I kind of explained that the GIS is as good as the information that we put into it. And so, number one, when you look at the GIS and you look at a specific site utility, you click on the line and it brings up the pop-up box. You're able to see, click on the as-built associated with that line and the information that is shown in the GIS on that line. So if you click on the as-built and it brings up, a hand-drawn as-built from 1968, obviously it's not the most recent information. There may be changes since then. It may be diagrammatic. It may not be completely accurate because it was hand-drawn in 68. So, but if you click on the link to the as-built and it's the project that was recently completed in the last fiscal year, then that information is more accurate and up to date. When we find information that is not up to date, if we know the accurate information, that is what we're trying to log and capture in the next update. Otherwise, what we do is pretty much a project by project basis. So for example, when the Horn Center started design, we hired a subsurface imaging company to locate all of the underground site utilities in the area around the Horn Center. And so at that point, we did use the GIS to provide as much information that we have on hand to the subsurface company and tell them, hey, this is what we think is there. This is what we know of according to all of our as-built that should be there. So you could use this as a starting point when you do your subsurface imaging. And then they provided, you know, different, they did GPR, they do contact tracing to accurately find everything that's underground. And then at the end of the Horn Center project, everything that was found in that subsurface imaging report and anything that was installed or relocated through that project would be provided in a record document, and then the GIS would be updated. So it's a very long-winded answer, but I hope that it kind of explained why the GIS is not 100% up to date as built of every single line on campus.
So I had a question to that. So to make sure we get an accurate location of an underground utility when we expose it, is it that we have to have a surveyor come out while the utility is exposed underground to get an accurate read? Or is it, you know, I guess I'm trying to understand like the timeline between when we identify something that needs to be changed and what do we need to get moving forward? What do we need to bring, who do we need to bring in to give us the correct information to give to you that a change needs to be made? Is it when it's exposed? Is it after we've already repaired it and buried it? Well, what guidance do we have on that, do you think?
Arvind and Vaishali, I was hoping that you guys could help us.
Yeah, I think, you know, when it is exposed, if you can shoot the coordinates, that would be the best way to capture exactly the information on that particular utility. And, you know, it is also the attributes that we've developed for each of the utilities also, you know, indicate what material it is, what size of piping, if any, it is, depending on the type of utility. If you can gather all that information as well and feed it to us, we will update it on the attributes table. So, and the date it was installed. So let's say you were saying it, let's say a particular pipe is being replaced, whether it is due to failure or whether it's due to, you know, age of the pipe, just let us know the date you installed and we'll actually add that to the attribute as well. So you have a good record of what and when it was done and with what material was it replaced.
And going back to what we said before, we would need a licensed surveyor to come out those 3 days the utility is exposed to draw those coordinates for us or take the coordinates, correct?
Yeah, so typically they are licensed. Anybody who can get us those coordinates in relationship to the monuments, you know, that I'd shown you, that's the big thing. So anybody who can do that, you know, who is experienced in that, to get us the right coordinates, that would be helpful. Otherwise, we are just drawing it on paper, basically.
Sure, and I was the one that asked the question, you know, is it something that someone on our operation that could do that? Because I'm just thinking about the timeline. We uncover underground utility break. We've got a very short window to fix it in and to coordinate for someone to come out and take those coordinates may be unpractical, but it was more so if there's someone on our team in-house that could do that, just to make sure we're capturing the accurate information so we can get corrections to you in a timely manner.
Yeah, I think, Stephanie, if you have people that are experienced in this, you know, if whether it's students or whatever, whoever can do these accurately, I think that's an option.
That's a really good point, Josh, that sometimes we only have the underground utility exposed for a few days before we got to bury it again. So just to kind of tag on to what Arvind was saying, I think that we could probably, just some resources that I'm thinking off the top of my head that we could utilize would maybe be some of the student assistants that we hire. Maybe we could hire people through the engineering, College of Engineering, because I know a lot of those students take the survey classes. I think another option is to maybe like change order it to a contractor that's working on campus or ask a TOCA contractor to do it under a quick pre-con authorization, because a lot of times those contractors have quick access to either in-house surveyors or external surveyors, and they're already on contract, like a TOGA contractor. It would be pretty quick to execute a pre-con authorization for them to do that for us. So those are just two ideas off the top of my head, but we can talk about it more after this meeting.
Stephanie, if I can kind of interject. For GIS, the other thing you can use is just GPS coordinates. So let's say when you take a picture on your phone, if you have location services on, your phone knows where that picture was taken. Now with a phone, the accuracy is not great, but if you had like a GPS receiver that was, getting satellite information, you can get highly accurate down to, sub-meter, centimeter accuracy on points. So if you had something like that, it would be quick to bring it out, attach it to a phone, possibly take a picture and send it over. And, that's something we can look into because that's fast. That's something you can keep there. You don't need a surveyor to do it. It's cheaper if you just have the receiver handy, if you just invest in a receiver. If I can share my screen, while we were talking, I kind of looked at this. So ArcGIS has what's called Quick Capture. So this is an app that you download on your phone, and we can configure this to show anything we want. We can, show gas valves or pipes or something, and you click on it, you take a picture, and it'll show exactly on a map where that picture was taken. And so you can quickly get all the data, but this does not go directly into the map. You have to input it yourself. So I would need to be sent this information, but that's pretty easy to do. And you still need to record all of the data that goes with it, like Arvin was saying, the pipe size and material and things like that. But this might be something to look into, and using a GPS, like a GNSS receiver, that might be worth it if we want to, look into doing something like that for emergency repairs that you've done. So you don't have to have a surveyor come out or have do a change order for a contractor.
And then link it to the monument, which is important.
Hey, Josh, I have to go to that pyramid lighting meeting, so I'm gonna leave the meeting. Okay.
Thank you, Robert. I'll be there shortly.
Okay.
So I think on the tool that you showed us at the beginning, it would be, I don't know if it's capable of doing it, but like I said, a lot of us use the layers on the left. And to have some kind of function where you kind of click on, like, for example, removing the abandoned line, that easy, and it not make like final edits where everyone won't be able to see that every time they open it up after that point, or even just do a quick temporary change to the color. Is that something that we could put in the software and then it just be a temporary thing? It doesn't transition, next time it opens up the map, it's not changed for everyone kind of thing?
If you have a read-only version, I don't know how much you can actually change on it. So you can't save your edits. So if you change anything, as long as you don't save it to the map, the changes won't be saved. So if you just want it for your viewing at the time.
Great.
But again, from what I showed you, you can also make your own maps on your desktop as well for temporary use. So I think that's all I had to show, unless anybody has any further questions. And I'm available by email or phone call if you want to ask me anything you think of later.
Thank you so much for doing this for us today, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of follow-up questions, and our group will let you know and reach out to you if we need to do any additional training or if we need any other assistance. I think the main takeaways today are, that our group is not making the edits, that we are either project by project updating or trying to do the smaller projects quarterly. It sounds like internally we do have a GPS receiver already. So Josh, I'll get with you about the potential of using that. That would be awesome for us to be able to do that and get information to you when we open things up, when we open up utilities. So thank you everyone for attending. And if you guys have any follow-up questions, let me know. And I'll be meeting with some, Walter and Alan and Josh and Al and others as a follow-up. So if you have questions, please let us know, because we're always trying to make sure everybody is learning and everybody's on the same page, and that ultimately the GIS is a helpful tool for all of us. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.